All right, and we are back, Betting Weekly Live, here with you on a Friday. Mike Carver along with Doug Kezirian. I know we had some technical issues, but we are back now, and we are making things happen for you here on Betting Weekly Live. Okay. All right, so we'll get Doug back in the mix for us here in a moment. And we were talking, of course, Illinois and Michigan for tonight. Doug was saying, look, I agree. I like this Illinois team a lot, but this is not the spot that you want to go after Michigan. That's for sure. So we're going to stay away from them here tonight. And there you go. Oh, it's there. Thank you, Max. You see, Max got to me. You never know. We're having all sorts of problems, and then we figured out that we're there. So Michigan and Illinois, Michigan minus 1.5 tonight, total 157.5 this evening. It's Michigan or nothing for me. Do like the over as well, along with Doug between these two. Could get a lot of points this evening. Hi, Doug. It's so great to see you again. How are you? I like Illinois a lot. Underwood's a guy that I never back, though. Not going to back him tonight. I am going to go with Michigan, Doug. That's where I am with them minus 1.5. Okay, there you go.
Now I can.
Oh, now he can. Hi, Doug.
Hello there.
How are you? I'm taking Michigan tonight. I like this Illinois team a lot, but I don't trust Underwood in a big game like this. I never usually do. That's why it scares me to back Illinois long term. I think you said it perfectly. We kind of got cut off before. I don't want to go after Michigan. That's not a team that I like going after ever.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've had some hiccups on the road, at least ATS, things like that. But those have been much different situations. Like that's when they're laying big numbers, like in the last game, although they were home in Ann Arbor. But they went on the road to Purdue and played great. I mean, obviously they hit a bunch of shots, but at Northwestern, at Oregon, kind of just weren't that great. But in the big games that were almost coin flip games, they delivered at Sparty, at Purdue. And I think we get that version of the Wolverines. It's totally human and normal for a team to be laying 22 not to cover on the road, and then for us to say, oh, they're not good on the road. Yeah, fine. Maybe big numbers. They got they got bigger fish to fry, so to speak. But when they have these kind of point spread, that's a different sort of mindset from them that you're going to get than you do going into a sleepy spot. So I'm not going to even remotely apply, even if it's an ATS. I get it, but I don't even think it's applicable here with the Wolverines going. I think the only two sort of reference points are the game in East Lansing and the game in West Lafayette, and they were excellent in those games. Although Michigan did blow a double-digit lead, and I think Sparty took the lead, but then Michigan took it back off an offensive rebound kick out for a 3. So Sparty was right there. I think this game's going to come down to it. Look at the net rankings and all that stuff. A lot of good, fun stuff. But I like the over, if anything.
Yeah, up and away tonight in Champaign between the Wolverines and the Illini. All right, we got some other games tonight. I am going to get to, of course, Miami of Ohio, who's in action. But it's also Friday night, Doug. That means we got Ivy.
The ancient eight.
Ivy Friday here on Betting Weekly Live. We'll start with Yale heading to upstate New York to see Cornell. Yale minus 3.5. That's a 165.5 in an Ivy game, Doug?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Sorry. Cornell pushes the pace more than every team in the Ivies. The Bulldogs dropped 102 on them in the last meeting. So Cornell wants to push pace, but I think Cornell's hit a little bit of a wall like the IU Indianapolis we've talked about. Games have gone under. I mean, Cornell's lost a couple in a row. They're not good. So Nick Townsend is stretch 4 for Yale. He got a concussion in the Harvard game, didn't play the second half, missed the last game. They lead the Ivies in 3-point shooting percentage. They have an excellent guard, but getting Townsend back, I mean, everything runs through him. He's like an Ivy League player of the year type guy. All signs point to his returning tonight. So that's a big one. Yale is a game up in the conference. If they just win out, they're going to win the regular season title. They have 3 games at Cornell, not very good, at Columbia, not very good, and then home to Princeton. Those are 3 of the bottom 4 teams in the Ivies. Yale beat Harvard. That was the big thing. However, so the way the conference tournament works, only the top 4 teams go to like Ivy Madness, I believe they call it.
Yeah.
And there's all those bad teams are kind of in contention for that 4th place. Well, I guess they're in contention for the 3rd place too, but Yale and Harvard are like in. So I think if you want to play amateur psychologist, I think Cornell, I mean, I know every game matters and everything, but they got Brown tomorrow at home that they absolutely need to beat, and then at Dartmouth. I think if they win those 2, they're going to go to Ivy Madness. So I'm not saying they're punting on this game, but I don't think they're going to be emptying the chamber in the gas tank tonight. And I think they kind of know they're outmatched. And Yale, look, I've had Yale a few times on this show. They haven't shown up in some first half, stuff like that. So it's definitely a reluctant play, but I think Yale, there's variance here. I mean, if you want to do alt lines, I think they could blow them out. Because if Cornell doesn't show up, it's going to be open shooting for Yale. And, they're great shooters.
Yeah. Yale 21-4 on the year now, as they are trying to finish this off. And of course, they got to win that Ivy Madness now, that weekend, that championship weekend on Saturday and Sunday to get themselves into the dance. More Ivy for you. You mentioned Harvard. They're at Princeton, 4.5-point, also road favorites here. Slightly different total, though. 129.5 with Harvard and Princeton.
Yeah, we know Princeton as a good team in the Ivies. They've gone Sweet 16. They're not good this year. They've lost 4 straight. They lost to Harvard only by 7 up in Cambridge. I think they get rolled here. I mean, they just lost. They've lost a few. They're just not good. Harvard is, by the way. Harvard has a chance to beat Yale. I mean, they already beat them once. So that Ivy Madness championship game, which all signs point to, that's how it's going to come down to. But Princeton's lost back-to-back games. They're just not that good. And I think Harvard takes care of business. Harvard's really good. They've lost 4 in a row, and they've been getting blown out. So I think Harvard rolls them here. I think this is a really good bet. And again, Princeton, much like I was just saying, Cornell could have their eyes on a different prize, saying, hey, let's take our lumps with Harvard and just focus on Dartmouth tomorrow, because they host Dartmouth tomorrow, but then they're at Yale. So really Princeton has no chance. I think they're going to try hard tonight because they made me think they can compete, because they barely lost up in Boston the previous meeting. But I think Harvard is legit. They really are.
Before I move on, any thoughts on Brown at Columbia tonight? We get Brown.
Well, I did bet on Columbia at Brown, and it went to overtime at the Pits. Columbia should get some revenge, but at some point, it's just too many points. Like you said, these low-scoring totals.
Yeah.
Some of these lines, you get a few extra candy, and you just have to take them because it may just come down to one shot. I don't think much of Brown, but I don't think much of this Columbia team either. So both teams kind of a pass. But if you can give me 5.5 with the Bears, they're not world beaters on the road, but 5.5 and what's supposed to be a low-scoring game, 140.5. I think under's the play. I mean, these two teams should not be. I mean, Brown's got the worst offense. They're in last place. They have the worst offense. And they scored 166, but it went to overtime, so it was really 142, excuse me. And so, yeah, I would say under is a play.
There you go. Ivy League Friday nights for us. All right, let's get to, of course, Miami of Ohio. Looking for 29-0 tonight in the MAC on the road at Western Michigan, who stinks. Miami of Ohio laying 11.5. 163.5 is the total. We've discussed this a lot, Doug. Miami of Ohio puts up lots of points.
I think buried in all this discussion, I mean, obviously the world's going to be talking about the undefeated record and all this stuff with, can they get an at-large bid if they want, go the regular season? I think we got to give them a tip of the cap by how they've performed against the spread.
Yeah.
This team has been legit ATS and tops in all of college basketball, 19-6. So yes, 25-0, but 19-6 ATS, and fade them at your own risk. We've had people here on the show, and a couple times we've discussed. You had them Kent State, and obviously Kent State had them beat. I would say proceed with caution, but I think, look, you don't want to overreact, but the second half in their last game against Eastern was really bad. They kind of hit a wall, and you just wonder if it's catching up with you. I was really impressed with Western's last game. They had all the makings to look ahead and just kind of circle this Miami of Ohio game, right? To hand the Redhawks their first loss. But Western won outright as a 9.5 point dog at
Yeah.
Bowling Green. So that's all business. So I think Western's going to give it to them. Eastern stinks. So Miami looked great. I like this Miami of Ohio team, but it was definitely a different watch when I watched them on the road, things like that. I think Friday night, they're going to be ready. I lean to the dog here plus the points. I really do.
Western Michigan here. I'm not going
And
to
I
go
think the
after them.
under. I think the under is the way. 163.5 is a big number.
Okay.
Now, the Redhawks can shoot the lights out, but I don't know. Things get tight. We've been waiting for the team to get tight, right? They've played pretty loose. I think under's the play here.
I think they're good till I think they're going to get if they're going to get tight, Doug. I think it's going to be when they get to, I guess, what's that, Cleveland they go to for the MAC tournament. I
Yeah,
think that's
but
where
everyone's saying if they can get, the regular season undefeated. I know we're all focused on the tournament and stuff, but that's also like a big, feather in their cap to go undefeated.
Oh, I think they should be in no matter what happens
Oh,
in
I
the
do
MAC
too.
tournament. They should be in. I don't care what anybody says. The two teams that have been chasing them, let me finish the MAC off here because this is actually a really good game also, and that's Akron and Kent State tonight. This is just after 8:00 East. Akron, they've only lost one game in conference all year to Miami of Ohio, and they are 23-5 overall. Most years, Doug, Akron would be the team that maybe thinks that they're going to head dancing, but they've got Miami of Ohio in front of them this year. Kent State's the third team in this conference, but I don't think they're near Akron and Miami of Ohio. I think, and this was like 2.5, 3.5 this morning. Now it's 4.5. I think the Zips tonight put the foot down and take care of business against Kent State.
Well, let me ask you this, because neither team's going to win the regular season title, right? That goes to Miami of Ohio. And these two are likely going to be in the 2 and the 3 seeds. Do they care? They'll obviously be up for this game, but I just wonder, maybe the revenge. I don't know. I think there's some weirdness going on just with what all the attention the Redhawks are getting.
You know what? That's not a bad thing to consider here. Does it matter? It was Akron worried about that because like you said, 2-3, not going to really make too much of a difference in the MAC tournament. Man, Akron lost by 3 to Miami of Ohio, too. At Miami of Ohio, they played them. That's a close game. They want another piece of that team. I still like Akron tonight.
Okay.
I think Akron against Kent. I think Akron's better than Kent State, and I think that they're going to show it this evening on the road at their place. All right, now let's go. What else do we? Oh, this game. This game caught my eye, and you had it down too. This game. And that is Dayton coming off an upset win over the Billikens the other night. So everyone's riding high with the Flyers. And they're going to a great GW team who stinks. This GW team is awful this year. And GW's minus 3.5 at home against Dayton. The riddle me this line of the night, Doug. What do I do here?
Well, there's some injury concerns for each team, and that's why I just can't play it right now. We got some game time decisions for both guys, but you're right. The spot screams GW. We saw it, 2 Fridays ago, where they were playing Mason, and it was just a bad situation.
They crushed them by 20.
Yeah, the home team really, I think, is significant here. Dayton, I think first half you got to look at something like this. Look, these are kids in a lot of ways, right? We talk about this with the WNBA and it's really hard. We have flat spots all over the place. We've talked about the NBA, right? Like the T-Wolves off big win, lose a 17-point underdog. We got one coming up as well in the NBA. I got one for you, but I think you have to play GW first half, but you also have to keep an eye on the injuries. But I think it's a straight effort play, and I'm not sure Dayton will be ready for the necessary energy it takes to play this game.
Yeah, it's GW for me. I like the first half side of things, as you're saying as well. Minus 1.5 GW in the first half here. And when GW actually has won recently, Doug, they have laid it on
cover.
Teams.
Yeah.
They beat LaSalle by 30. I know LaSalle stinks. They beat that Mason game you talked about a couple Fridays ago. They beat them by 20. So, at home tonight against Dayton, coming off an enormous win. for them there. All right, there you go for Friday night. I don't think there's anything else of importance, Doug, that I'm leaving out. I mean, I know we all love when Manhattan and St. Peter's get together, but we can leave them off the card here this evening. Let's get to Saturday because we have got just a full slate of heavy hitter games and a lot of revenge spots, including Kansas heading out to Arizona to see the Wildcats. This is just after 4 o'clock East on Saturday. Arizona, of course, lost to the Fog, -8.5. That was their first loss of the season, too, right? Like, wasn't Arizona undefeated when they went into that game?
Correct. And that was the Billy Madison, Darren Peterson game where there's that scene where Billy Madison's like dunking on the hoop in his room, and then he comes in, it's like, sorry, I'm sick. I'm too sick. Yeah, so it was a late scratch, flu-like symptoms, and KU played amazingly well, right? And that's when we learned that Bill Self is undefeated at home in top 10 matchups, which is incredible when you think about it, especially without Peterson. But there's a tax here. I mean, this is a big number, and Arizona doesn't exactly shoot lights out from 3, right? But I think Arizona was up double digits in that game, so they kind of have it. Now the question is Peterson, right? He can take over an entire game. We saw that ending in Texas Tech and Lubbock where they're down 6 and back-to-back threes, and what do you know? They win the game. I can't lay it, but look at this week. We've seen all these revenge angles. I mean, St. John's, UConn completely destroyed them. St. John's scored 40 points. They didn't make a field goal the final 17 minutes of the game.
Nope.
40 points were the lowest score output by any Rick Pitino team. The previous high was 1981. Boston University scored 43 points. So again, revenge. We saw it in a lot of spots this week. We saw blowouts. And so it's Arizona or pass. And honestly, I might get there on Arizona just because of the spot.
Yeah, it is. It does feel a little heavy, but if it gets that high, it's for a reason, Doug. I always think.
Right.
I feel like this is an Arizona game. This is an Arizona green light go for us on Saturday. All right, noon East tip in the ACC for Virginia and Duke at Cameron. Duke -10.5. I'm sorry, Doug, and I know we've talked about Virginia a lot. I think this is a little disrespectful to Virginia, to be quite honest with you. I know Duke is very good, but Virginia's real good too. That's a lot of sticks, double digits here.
Yeah, I mean, literally texting a Virginia guy, he finally got back to me, and he knows this team really well. And he said, I may need to be physically restrained from betting the Who's spread right now. His concern is like the young players haven't seen an environment like Cameron Indoor. And once they knock out a leg, they can lean on you and the game can get away. I just don't know if that can happen. This Virginia team is really potent. I believe they only have 3 losses on the entire season. So I've been really impressed. It is just a different animal. And I think you have to take the points if you play this game. But this line's moved from 9.5 to 10.5. So I'm a little concerned. Like I've seen these dead dogs, these dogs with fleas, just get buried. And I'm worried that that's what we have here because this, I thought line would be like 7, 6.5, 7. So I'm stunned at what this line is. But, again, Odom's teams don't get blown out, or we haven't seen it really. But 10.5, such a big number, but I think that's telling you something too.
I mean, yeah, I did just say that with Arizona. It's telling you something if it's that high, and then I just feel a little disrespectful with Virginia. They've been so good. It just seems like a lot. Number 16, Texas Tech. Visiting Ames and Iowa State here. -9.5 for the Cyclones. We got some big spreads here on Saturday. 144.5 the total.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a beatdown as well. I think you got to lay it with the Cyclones as well. Texas Tech, again, they lose top end. It's nice, the initial sort of surge of the team and everything. But this is where it gets sort of, we kind of water finds its level here. Iowa State is so good at Hilton. Texas Tech is well coached and all that. And they've played obviously well since losing him. But I think this is where the truth comes out, so to speak. I think it's Cyclones or pass, but we're paying a tax in these. Obviously, we saw Wednesday night all those sort of revenge angles and beatdowns and all that. this could be a really tough spot for the Red Raiders.
Really tough spot. I agree. It's Iowa State or nothing for me, laying it here with them. St. John's back at the Garden on Saturday night. It's one of those Saturday double headers at the Garden, Doug. You can go watch the Rangers and the Penguins at 12:30, go grab a steak and a beer, and then come back for St. John's and Villanova at 8 o'clock at night. And with St. John's coming off just an embarrassing performance you were just mentioning on the road at UConn, they're laying 6.5 here against Nova. Late night at the Garden, 8 o'clock East tip.
I think it's a get-right spot for the Johnnies. Don't you think Pitino knows how to push the right buttons?
Yes.
Sometimes we see this in football a lot where they take the tape and bury it in the backyard. They don't look at it again. I think if they need to be reprimanded or they need to be coddled, he's going to do the right stuff. I haven't given up on the St. John's. I just think it was the worst spot ever. I mean, there's even allegations of game being fixed that was so bad, like on the under. So it's like, guys, things don't get like that egregious. There has to be like literally 5, smoke. So there's fire for me to really believe something like that. I'd have to lay it before I took it, but Nova plays all their competition, kind of meets them where they are, plays up, plays down to their opponent. They've been right there in games. A lot of times the spread's decided by the last bucket, but I think the spot is St. John's. Look, Darling's getting a lot of run as the point guard or ball handler, facilitator, whatever you want to call it. And he's been fine. He's just not sort of savvy veteran who kind of controls the whole game, which you want from a floor general. So that's a weakness, but they press well. They have such size. I think I have to roll with the Red Storm here in a bounce back spot.
I'm with you. It would be St. John's for me against Villanova on Saturday night. Good Saturday night game in the SEC as Arkansas heads to Gainesville against the Gators. 8.5 for Florida here and a healthy total of 167.5.
Yeah, I mean, we were on the Hogs in the last game because they blow out teams at home, or at least they get up and down and score. They're a very different team on the road, but I just think there's so much talent with this Arkansas team. I mean, they have a lottery pick in Acuff. I like this Florida team, and the front line is excellent. So I lean to the Dogs. Just at some point, these lines are just too high. Like we talked about it with Duke, Virginia. We talked about Kansas, Arizona. At some point, the line's too high. So I think the Hogs are a lean for me, but this Gators team's been on fire, a bet-on team. So I'm just a little reluctant. They're right now a trendy pick. Obviously, the defending champs, Florida school, was the last team to repeat, obviously, in the 2000s. I'd roll with Arkansas here, but it's going to be right there around the number, possibly.
Can we tee it high and let it fly with this 167.5?
I mean, I wouldn't bet under.
I wouldn't bet under either. I think we could smash that thing with these two. These Arkansas games have been track meets. They really have, just running up and down. Louisville at Clemson here. Saturday, this is 2 o'clock, just after 2 o'clock East. Louisville minus 1.5. 146.5. I was hoping Clemson would be favored, Doug, so I can get my famous unranked team favored over the ranked team. But maybe it'll flip there by tomorrow afternoon.
Well, this Clemson team, so when they had lost back-to-back, I bet on them, and then they got dusted start to finish. So I've backed off this Tigers team. They've now lost 4 straight, which is crazy. And I like this Louisville team, but they had a tough game in North Carolina, and the environment got to them. They hit some shots in the second half, but I think the Tigers get right here. But again, I don't want to keep throwing good money after bad. I already had one lump with Clemson. It was pretty hefty, so I'm just going to let this one go. But Clemson, I think, they're not going to lose every game, right? So this seems like the spot where they can get back on track, but I don't have to bet it, so I won't.
Bama at Tennessee, just after 6 o'clock East on Saturday. This is on ESPN. Tennessee now minus 5.5, up to 5.5. Once also another one in the 160s, 164.5.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a tax. I'm not sure I'm ready to lay here. So Tennessee, I'm glad they lost their last game if I'm looking to bet them tomorrow, because they can't just keep winning every game. They were so impressive a week ago in Vanderbilt. And I just think this Alabama team just too reckless and careless with the ball. With that said, the Tennessee defense is sort of minimized when you have this helter-skelter pace and this analytically driven team. I just don't know if Tennessee can kind of get in their half-court sets and lock down. They're better at sort of predictable offenses, but I like the offense. Ament's been great. The freshman, he's been playing well. Ament, I'm butchering his name every time. And they have great point guard play. So I lean Tennessee, but I can't lay the 5.5 here. I mean, I wouldn't be stunned if Alabama won. So why am I laying 5.5?
Yeah, and this is unlike the other game where I think Arkansas and Florida can really smash through it. I'm not as
Right.
sure on this one
Well, yeah.
with the 164.5. This one's more maybe to the downside of it in terms of the total. A tradition unlike any other, Doug, and it could be the last time, right? Because if they don't play in the WCC title game, which they probably will, Gonzaga and St. Mary's. Zags minus 1.5 on the road to Cali, 143.5 the total.
So I first of all, I lean St. Mary's. This is the revenge angle, right? We talked about it. And I talked to people who thought Zags would be higher favored. And I was like, I don't know. I think they're missing a guy and everything. St. Mary's has been great. This St. Mary's team has won the outright last 2 years. So the last time Gonzaga won this conference outright in the regular season was 4 years ago, I believe. So it's been 3 years. The previous 3 seasons, they had co-favorite and then, co-champ, and then the Gales won it. So I think the under's the play. 143.5. So this rivalry has gone under 8 straight. Okay. Why is that? Is this random? So the reason is I talk about the Army Navy. There's just a familiarity here. So the coaches haven't changed. So this number of 143.5 is calculated based on stats from throughout the season. Okay. But now they're playing each other and just the market's corrected, but I don't think it's corrected enough. So it's just the performance throughout the season is not entirely applicable because there's such familiarity and there's such intensity with these teams. So I'm going to have to go under here. Gonzaga wants to do a lot of things and Randy Bennett's not going to let him do it. It's that simple. So under at 143.5 has got to be a play.
Yeah, look, we did this a month ago when they played up at Gonzaga. The unders have been king here. I believe you said it, 8 straight, right? 8 straight unders between the two of them. So let's go. Another under between Gonzaga and St. Mary's here. I kind of like St. Mary's just from the revenge angle, like you said, but number's a little short. I would have liked a little bit more with St. Mary's than the 1.5. I'm just playing money line, obviously, at that point. All right, let's do a couple others, maybe not as big on the card. Well, UConn coming off smashing St. John's. They are at home, and this is Stores, not the mall. They're at Stores tomorrow against Seton Hall. 14.5, 2 tutties and a hook, and a 128.5.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Dayton off the big win, and then we talked about St. John. Like, this is just the flat spot, right? Like, I have to fade UConn in the first half or something like that. It's just the Huskies have demonstrated they haven't been this dominant team. Yes, they were great against St. John's the other night. Okay, but can they slaughter a team? I was on, Creighton when they were big dogs at home and UConn killed them. But that just hasn't happened enough. So I'm going to, just because of the spot, I'm going to look to the Hall first half. But I do wonder if sort of Danny Hurley and company's kind of hitting that groove and just that peak, you want to kind of peak at the end of the season. I wonder, coming off that win, if this is what's going to, comes ahead for the Huskies. Vandy
visiting Kentucky on Saturday afternoon. There's a lot of really good SEC games on Saturday. With Vandy, and this is a pick 'em now, this game, 155.5.
So for me, it's Kentucky or pass. This is one of those revenge angles. Right now, Vandy's much better than they were. Miles is back. This UK team's been annoying, but I just think the spot. I mean, Vandy pounded them in the first game. I think they won by 25. But this one, I think you just have to kind of zigzag. Right? It's just the team, the bounce back spot. I think that's the only way to play this with the Cats. Rupp Arena will be ready.
Yeah, I like Kentucky. It's Kentucky for me or nothing, as you kind of just said. This is a good spot for them at home. They'll be ready to go. It's a Wildcat one. UCLA, Doug, going to Minnesota. Mick Cronin leaving a time zone. Everybody get ready. You never know what could happen, especially in the post game. -2.5, 136.5.
So I lean to the dog here. I think there needs to be some sort of market correction with UCLA. But the problem is the Gophers are so thin and shorthanded, and they're just not that good. I think this has rock fight written all over it. I think both teams lack the depth. Minnesota has the 303rd, I think, fastest tempo in the country. So that's bottom 30 in terms of pace. It's going to be a lot of half-court sets. I don't think Donovan Dent's going to go off and bomb a million threes like he did against Illinois. I just think this is, I mean, look, the Michigan Minnesota game was 145.5. So you're saying 9 points lower for the Bruins and Gophers? I'm not there. I will say this: Minnesota, about 6 games, I think, in conference play have gone over. I think 5 of the 6 were all decided by like 3 to 5 points. So that's my concern, is that maybe these tight games in the Big Ten that Minnesota plays, they all go over because of fouls or whatnot. With that being said, I think this is a total rock fight, and I have to play under. It's one of my favorite plays tomorrow.
136.5 for the Bruins and the Gophers there on Saturday afternoon. NC State making the trip to Notre Dame on Saturday afternoon. NC State minus 5.5, 153.5.
Well, we just saw the Irish get destroyed at home by Duke. It's, line was 17. I think they more than doubled it. But see, NC State's coming off a beatdown too. So I think the Wolfpack handled their business. This Notre Dame team's got some issues. Yes, they're at home and they're catching a relatively big number. I think the Wolfpack are good enough to cover this number on the road. I mean, there's a significant talent gap. As long as the Irish don't just bombs away and shoot the lights out, I think we're okay laying this, road chalk.
Yeah, no doubt there. Notre Dame stinks. I've had enough. We need the Notre Dame season to end. Mountain West on Saturday. We love the Mountain West here on Betting Weekly Live. And we got some good ones, especially this New Mexico game, which is actually going to be on Big CBS. But let's do Air Force first, because they, of course, have been one of our hot topics here. They are going to Wyoming. Did I see that? Wyoming's laying 22.5 at home against Air Force.
I think I have to take it with the Falcons. Now, we've discussed these spreads. The last game Air Force played, the line was like 6.5, right? And they lost by 6. So that's a different handicap. When you get a single-digit situation versus, these 22s and 18s and stuff, that's just a different handicap. I talked about it earlier with Michigan. I don't think Wyoming should be laying this against anyone, even an Air Force team that doesn't have NIL and that's been getting blown out and got done away with their sort of Princeton offense. So there's higher scoring games. I think Wyoming is beyond overrated. Although I looked it up as a favorite in conference play. They're like 3-3. Now, nothing was like a big spread like this. I just don't think they can cover these big numbers. They were laying something similar against San Jose State earlier in the year, and they had a miracle cover on the first half line and then had no chance in the second half. I think Air Force loses by like 14. I think this number is like 6 points, 5 points higher than I thought it'd be. I really do. Maybe Wyoming steamrolls them. I just don't think they will. I like the Falcons here.
I mean, they only beat them by 12 at Colorado Springs. And you mentioned the San Jose State game. They beat them by 4 at home.
Yeah.
22.5. You got to be kidding me for Wyoming. No, thank you whatsoever. I love this game, and I'm sure they love Mountain West that they're on CBS, Big CBS at 2:00 East. So that's an early tip out in New Mexico for San Diego State and the Lobos. Lobos minus 3.5, 147.5.
Yeah, this number's trickling up a little bit. It's almost unplayable. There's just a tax for this, revenge spot, home court. I mean, all signs point to a convincing win from the home team at the Pit. But San Diego State's pretty good, right? If they hit some shots. They had lost back-to-back games at the Pit, and then they beat Air Force, so that doesn't really count. So let's just say the Lobos have lost back-to-back home games. I think they get them, but 3.5 is the absolute apex I would consider. I wouldn't consider 4.
Grand Canyon at Utah State late night in the Mountain West.
Whew.
And of course, you get the battle between Nevada and UNLV also.
The Fremont Cannon is the football rivalry name. Nevada's so much better at home, but I think they're laying 1 here in Vegas. UNLV's got some issues, but they can come back, man. They cut that 20-point deficit the other night down to single
Yeah.
digits. I think UNLV probably gets them here. I really do. But
Okay.
Alford's an experienced coach. Pastor's no slouch. But I think it's a nice rivalry game. It's going to come down to the wire. UNLV, just a couple of their bigs can't make free throws, and they're just young. But Nevada's no picnic either on the road. So I'd have to lean with the Rebels if I'm catching one.
I know we don't have the early line. I don't think yet for that Grand Canyon Utah State game, but
I looked it up. It felt right.
Did it? Did they have Utah State as the favorite on the road, or did they have Grand Canyon? I know.
I think
I got that game on my eyes, Doug, as you can tell.
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously it's going to be a good environment.
Game in my eyes.
So they had Utah State laying a big number. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, the game's at Utah State. I apologize.
Yeah,
I thought
like
the game was at Grand Canyon.
Like
okay.
9.
Yeah. Now, that's a lot.
Grand Canyon won by 10 at home earlier this year.
Man, the game's in Logan. That's a lot. I'm like, you know what the good thing is, Doug? I got till all the way tomorrow night at 10 o'clock.
You got some
think
time.
about that one.
Yeah,
I got plenty of games between
Saturday
now
goes.
and then. That's a nice late night bailout blowout game for us in case we go to that one. All right, Kyle Choops, big weekend. Absolutely. Let's get to the NBA. Only 5 games on a Friday night. I guess that's what happens, Doug, when they play so many on a Thursday, like we had last night. ESPN has the doubleheader this evening, and the first game is the Cavs and the Pistons in Detroit, with the Pistons minus 6.5, 227.5. Is the total. What's the I see Mitchell out.
Yeah.
Mitchell
out, Harden, we don't know. I think this has the Pistons sort of rolling, but I'll say this, like Cleveland's played well when they've been shorthanded. They have a lot of guys they can throw out there on offense, but they also can give up a million points. So I think the Pistons ultimately, but the offense runs through Cade Cunningham. This is not an offense that just like a Celtics when they're firing, everyone's firing threes and that they're firing on all cylinders. This is a team where Detroit needs to go through Cade, and if he doesn't have a great game, they could lose. I mean, that's the thing. They're so dependent on Cunningham.
Very dependent on him indeed. The night game, the later game, I should say. The Nuggets at OKC at just after 9:30 East on ESPN. Thunder minus 8. And 234 the total. SGA back, right, Doug? Is SGA back tonight?
That's what we think. And we think Jamal Murray's going to be out. He left the Celtics game the other night sick, so they don't think he's going to play. Strother, I believe, is out as well.
Strother.
I still think the line feels a little high, but SGA, I mean, this team just hums when he's in. So I just think that Jokic is he's just the neutralizer of everything the Thunder want to do. Defensively, offensively, I think you got to just at least lean to the dog here. I can't lay it.
Total's pretty big. 234. These Nugget games, they get high.
Well, yeah, you have the number 1 rated offense, and with SGA, that's a good pull. I do like the over here.
A little over, I think.
But the Thunder locked down on defense, man. They've been just shutting teams down lately, especially second half.
There you go. Elsewhere. The Nets in Boston against the Celtics tonight. We got a big number here. 17.5. 209 the total.
Well, this is the spot where it's impossible. When you're off a big road trip, so they had 4 big games, the Warriors, Lakers, Suns, Nuggets, and they come home, 1 day off, and now you got to play the Nets. And it's essentially another road game. The spot screams underdog. Now, but here's my concern, okay? If the market was tight and accurate, yes, you got to bet the underdog. But because of these tanking variables, you just don't know. Like maybe the line should be 22.5 and you take the dog because it's a flat spot or it's the Malinsky special. But the problem is these baseline of the point spread, we don't know because there's so many moving parts. The apathy and the effort and the want to win is so, questionable right now with a lot of these teams in the tanking. You just don't know what you're getting with Brooklyn. Now, with that being said, I think I'm going to play the Nets first quarter, first half. I just think the spot is just so overpowering. And I think it could be an under as well. So first half, 10.5, that's a lot of points. And I think, again, Porter Jr., we've talked about, he could be going off. Celtics hit a bunch of threes, but they also play some no names. So I'd be looking at, the only side I'd be considering would be Nets.
Yeah, 10.5 first half, 5.5 in the first quarter for the Nets tonight in Boston against the Celtics. Knicks play tonight too in Milwaukee against the Bucks. They're 8.5-point road favorites. 218.5 is the total. All the talk here in town the last 48 hours, Doug, has been Brunson has to get Cat more involved. So they didn't like Cat for like 3 weeks. Cat was no good. Now he should be involved more. But that's New York for you. Everyone changes their mind.
Yeah, I just think Doc Rivers has this Bucks team playing pretty well. So you're getting 8.5 at home. I mean, he's coming at you with waves, some scoring, a little bit of everything. Now, it's a lot of no names, not no names, but casual fans don't recognize a lot of these guys. But I think I have to lean to the home dog here. Nick's got the Sixers on deck. I'd take the Bucks if I had to play it, but I like Rollins, Ryan Rollins, their point guard. I like his over his points, 18.5. He's in the 20s repeatedly, lightly. I just think this defense is going to let them, the Knicks don't play a whole lot of defense. I think Rollins is going to eat. He may have 1 million assists and not quite get to 19 points or more, but I think he will. I think he's a big part. He's like a George Hill meets like Damian Lillard kind of guy. Because he's not quite as pedestrian offensively, but he kind of looks like George Hill, but he's an orchestra in the offense, controls it. I think it's a good spot to back him. I think this Knicks team, they got one eye. It's a little senioritis here coming to Milwaukee.
And the other game tonight of the 5, if you like tanking, you get it here. The Grizz and the Mavs in Dallas, 4.5. And let me just see if I see there. 238.5 for the Grizz and the Mavericks this evening.
Well, the Grizzlies just give up a lot of points, and they're going to push the pace. Now, Dallas has won 2 of 3, and they laid an egg appropriately in their last game against Sacramento because we can't have this winning. No. And the Grizzlies lost as well. I think you have to play the Grizz here, and I can't tell you anything about the total. Probably over, to be honest. But I think I'd lean Grizz here. I think they get the win.
It's probably an over, I would have to think. With the way the Grizzlies there's just no resistance whatsoever, Doug.
Right.
It's just zero.
Zero resistance.
Everybody.
Well. And Flag's not going to play. So, it's more of the same.
Yeah, more of the same. So there you go for Friday night. It's actually kind of light Saturday, too.
Okay.
Only 5 games on Saturday also. I guess is Sunday. Sunday's heavy. Sunday, there's a ton of games in the NBA. But Saturday, you do get Lakers-Warriors. That's the big ABC game at night. Portland's got to play a 1:00 East game in Charlotte tomorrow afternoon too, huh, Doug? Ooh.
I didn't catch that time, but I do like the over. So obviously I got under on the Blazers and last night, but the pace was crazy, and the Bulls just stink offensively. So I'm on the over. The Hornets are just licking their chops, taking down teams left and right. I got to go over whatever this number is. Maybe lay it with the Hornets. You mentioned the early tip time, and this Blazers team's nothing special with Avdia out and Shaedon Sharpe out. So this Hornets team's been beating up on teams. So that's how I'm going to play it.
Yeah. And the Rockets are afternoon in Miami too. An afternoon game after an off day in South Florida.
They just won in Orlando. Big comeback. They've won a few in a row. This has heat banger written all over.
Yes, it does. If this game was at night, maybe I would feel a little different. But an afternoon tip off an off day in South Beach.
I really like the NBA card. Tomorrow, that is. Yeah. I think this, there's a lot of physicality with this Houston team. I just don't know if they're going to want to play this game.
I agree with you 100%. Anything else from the weekend? Maybe Pelicans Jazz again this weekend?
Yeah, a little 2-game series. So I really like this New Orleans team. We touched on it yesterday. I was kicking myself. Should have been a bigger play. The Pelicans don't have their first round pick. They are not tanking despite being 18-42, and they're not tanking because they don't own their pick. DeJounte Murray just came back. There's a little bounce in the Pelicans players' steps right now. They want to play well. They want to kind of develop some chemistry. They're all young dudes. And this Utah team stinks. Markkanen's not playing. George isn't playing. Kessler's out for the year. Nurkic is out. Yeah, they'll come at you and score some points, but they give it up so easily. I got to lay it with New Orleans. I think it's too good of a play.
There you go. Pelicans Jazz for us as well this weekend. And I think you said Lakers Warriors too, right? Doug? You guys do Lakers
Yeah,
Warriors?
I lean Lakers here. You know, I think they played pretty well. I think the Suns were just off a couple losses and played well themselves. Lakers have some issues. They got to work out the rotation. The big three that they have, like with only two of them play, they're actually pretty good. The defense leaves a lot to be desired. It's Luka's birthday tomorrow.
Mm,
I think the Lakers cover. Now the Warriors will come at you and they take care of business, but they're not that good. Obviously, it's without Steph and everything.
yeah, no doubt. So big NBA weekend for us there. And then Sunday, of course, we still got a little far out, but Sunday is a full slate. Sunday, you get a full run of games for us in the NBA. All right, Betting Weekly Live, Mike Carver and Doug Kezirian. Of course, if you like what you see here on the show, make sure you subscribe to the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube, where you can check us out and, of course, all of our other shows, including released earlier today. Betting Weekly Extra Time. Dan Roebuck, Steve Wiss, and James Eastham as they preview another weekend in European soccer, including matchup between Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich coming up this weekend. So check out Dan, Steve, and James. Betting Weekly Extra Time on the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube. All right. Good game. Jackson over 15 and a half right there. MT Smith checking in with us on the chat box. Let's get the look at this thoughts on a fair Cognizant live play. They want the golf too here.
Get in there, Carver.
How about this? Well, we you know what? Because we're about to do the hockey before we get out of here. I was watching before we came on, of course. Irish Bear did get a birdie on 18. Man, that's gonna run his number up. Yeah, they got him at 850 now on Bet Rivers. Might even put more in the Naz Reid sixth man and Kneppel Rookie of the Year basket. Tell everybody, Doug, while I give you find a golf about Kneppel and where he is today after breaking that record last night.
He's the new favorite. We've been sniffing this out for many days. Flag's going to be missing this next game for Dallas. There's really no reason for them to bring it back. Yeah, they probably would like him in a perfect world to win the award, but not at the cost of winning games. That hurts their lottery chances. You know, Dallas is feeling themselves after last year winning the lottery. So I think Flag's going to be, I don't want to say shut down, but very reluctantly used. And it's a lot of times this is just, you know, they're going to factor in the fact that Knippel's contributing to a playoff run. I mean, he just broke the rookie record for most threes. He's a very good player. This is not a slight on Flag, but just everything. He just matters so much in a playoff run. I think Kneppel, even at minus money, is now worth a play. I really do.
There you go for you. And by the way, Austin Smotherman now has a 4-shot lead at the Cognizant, and he's still got holes to play today, so he can extend. Everyone else is pretty much done at 7 or 8 under, 6 under. There's a host of guys at 5, including the Irish Bear. You can't play Shane Lowry 7 shots back at plus 850. I'm sorry. You just cannot,
the Irish Bear,
under any circumstances, do that. So please don't. Honestly, Steve, I'll find somebody and tweet it out later. I don't like I mean, I want to go after Austin Smotherman, but man, these really aren't the horses that are behind him to go after him. So I'm going to have to do a little digging later, Steve. I'll tweet something out about who we like for the golf. All right, hockey for tonight. Only 4 games in the NHL, Doug. We've obviously had a lot the last couple nights coming back from the Olympics. Everybody's basically played now at this point. The Golden Knights are in Washington against the Caps. That is your NHL Network game. Now, the spot here is this. So the Vegas had, I think, 7 guys, I think. They were among the second most. They didn't play any of them in their first game, which was all the way out in LA. Then they got to come all the way back across the country to play DC to start an East Coast trip. Very weird the NHL did that, Doug. Made them go play in LA on Wednesday night and now send them on an East Coast trip. I don't know why they wouldn't just do that out of the gate from the Olympics. So a lot of travel for Vegas, but all their big guns from the Olympics didn't play the first one, and they're just coming in tonight. So Vegas is -1. Caps are actually favored -115 here this evening.
I don't know. I mean, the Golden Knights, we kind of sniffed that one out. And now, granted, we didn't expect 5 goals in the third period, but we sniffed that out the other day. This is tricky. I think they lose here just because it's a tough road trip. And there's a lot going on. I think Eichel was just talking to SVP on set and the travel. And it's just, there's a lot of demands going on. The Golden Knights had a lot of Olympians. I think the Capitals get them.
This is caps or nothing
Yeah.
for me tonight. I would not play Vegas tonight on the road. I'm stunned they got that game in LA the other night with nobody
Well, yeah, but
playing.
we see in the NBA all the time,
Right.
wounded animals, so to speak. So that's not surprising. The price was right, and I didn't bet it. Don't get me wrong; I didn't expect it, but I wasn't shocked. Let's put it that way.
This one I do like. Buffalo in Florida tonight against the Panthers. Panthers minus 122. Panthers played last night, and they beat Toronto. Sabres played on Wednesday, so they didn't play yesterday, and they came out just like they did going in, hot, playing well. They beat the Devils in Jersey. I'll take the Sabres tonight with the Panthers on the second night of a back-to-back because I'm not believing in the Panthers. They, of course, had the most guys in the Olympics. Yes, they got the win last night against the team that had played the night before. I think a good spot for the Sabres here tonight at even money.
Okay, I like the breakdown. Obviously, you've been really seeing the puck well this year with the Sabres. You've been kind of ahead of the curve on them for a while. Look, we're putting the Olympic break behind us. Back in the routine. So I like going back to the well with Buffalo.
Yes. And here's one of the toughest back-to-back situations in the entire league tonight. The Minnesota Wild were in Colorado last night. Tonight they are in Utah. Whichever one you do first or second doesn't matter. It's been very hard for all these teams on the second night. Now, normally I'd say it's East Coast teams, but I mean, Minnesota's Central Time Zone, and ain't easy, they're not exactly in the Rocky Mountains. So
right.
I think it's tough for Minnesota too. And they got a huge win last night in Colorado against the Avalanche. I think the numbers telling you everything you need to know right there, Doug. Seeing Utah that big of a favorite against Minnesota this evening, I think this has become a real thing. These back-to-back nights in the two mountain cities, always extremely difficult on the second night.
Yeah, I agree. And there is a little bit of a tax for a reason. Do you have PTSD after taking the Mammoth the other night?
A little bit. But I think that this spot has become something that is, you see all these teams that roll through and do it. Whichever one they're in the second night, they do not look up to the task. So, and Minnesota's much better than Utah. They're a much better hockey team. That number's telling you everything you need to know about how tough a spot that's going to be for them tonight. So, listen, I don't think you can, right? I know we talk about this stuff all the time. Yeah, that was tough. I got burned by Utah. I thought that would be a good night for them to show up, but I can't avoid the second night of the back-to-back in this spot. I just can't.
Yeah.
So it's Utah for me.
I'm with you. I think you don't be scared. Is it a best bet potential?
It's either them or Buffalo. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like Buffalo tonight as well in their game. And that is, there's only one other hockey game, by the way. Winnipeg's in Anaheim against the Ducks. I believe Hellebuck's making his first start since the Olympics. So Ducks score a lot of goals. Maybe an over tonight. Maybe Hellebuck a little sleepy. Late night. This could be our late night over. 10 o'clock East face-off.
Hellebuck, man. He was so lights out.
He was so lights out, but that's over now.
Oh, it is. It is.
It's over now. We're back to the Winnipeg Jets. So Ducks and the Jets later this evening for us there. Spring training. There are a couple games tonight. I'm on Brennan per Carver. And yes, Brennan is I think he's 4 under. We need this Smotherman to can he drop a couple shots here the last few holes and get to 10? I'd feel a little bit better, Steve, if we were only 6 shots back. But yes, we have Brennan, and he finished at 4 under today. So he's going to be in there this weekend. And look, this is PGA National, and the guys at the top, this is not exactly Scotty and Tiger. Austin Smotherman and Nico Echevarria. Hellebuck is only playing road games because we aren't letting him back into Canada, according to Kyle Andrew there at the bottom. So they don't want Hellebuck back north of the border, Doug. Come on. All these guys. It is kind of bizarre that they're all Hellebuck. Matthews is a captain in Canada. Brady Tkachuk's a captain in Canada. That is pretty weird that all these guys now got to go back and play up there. Spring training's got Astros, Nationals, and Diamondbacks, Mariners tonight, Doug, if you're so interested.
Not really.
I'm not either. But next week, World Baseball Classic. Get ready. It's coming. Tariq Skubal showing up for one game against Great Britain before he goes back to Lakeland. So Want to make sure you're involved with that. All right, it is time. Best bet and the Daily Double here on Betting Weekly Live. I have made my decision with the hockey. I'm going with the Sabres. Maybe that is a little bit of PTSD, as you said, from Utah the other night. Just that is a really tough spot. But I think the Sabres are good here tonight. I think Florida has not shown, we've been waiting for them to hit the gas all year. And every time you think they're about to, they sputter. But Sabres are a really good team. They don't have the Olympic fatigue that other teams have. Panthers looked good last night, but they were playing another team on a back-to-back. Let's take Buffalo here, even money on the road in Sunrise.
All right. I'm so torn here. I really like 2 plays tonight. Really torn. I want to take the Nets plus the 17.5 in Boston with that first game home. It's just a terrible spot. Historically, it's great. But I just think there's such line value here in the Ivies. So that means Boston's I think Nets might win outright. And I think they did beat them this year. So I like Yale, and I like the little slider action here. You can move it to 3.5 minus 122.
Ooh, okay.
You probably don't need it. I mean, look, Yale beat them by 35 or something the last game. I just think with Townsend coming back, because that's what's supposed to happen, and Cornell being who they are and terrible defensively, I think it's going to be open gym shooting for the Eli's, another nickname for Yale if you do crosswords. I just think Yale cannot lose this game, and they're going to be on point and just carve up this terrible Big Red defense, and it's all Yale tonight. And those road trips fine. I mean, it's a little bit of a hike to Ithaca, but I think Yale should take care of business. And the NBA is just tougher to beat than college. Obviously, road favorite versus a road underdog getting 17.5. Very different handicaps. I think both get there, but we'll roll with Yale minus 3.5, minus 122 on the friendly slider over at Bet Rivers. So that's going to be my, daily double contribution here. Trying to sweep the week, Carver.
You are looking for a 5-0 week. Big week for you. And look, I think we say it every week. If we got 2 every week of the day, we get 2 daily doubles a week. That is a very profitable week. We had one on Monday this week. We've come up short from on my side the last couple nights. So hopefully tonight we can finish the week with one. Sabres money line in Florida against the Panthers, even money. Yale alt line minus 3.5 gives us plus 264 at Bet Rivers this evening for the daily double.
And it should be known, you have a record of 8 straight, and I'm writing 5, so I'm trying to get within striking distance. So.
You see, this is why I love Doug. He's got everything charted out.
Because we got there last Friday. We got there last Friday.
We got there last Friday. So there you go. Daily double for tonight. Sabres and the Yale alt line. You see now, do I get to cheat, Doug? Since I can't play the Yale, do I use the net first half?
Nah, just take the 17.5. Just take the 17.
Do I take the net 17.5 since you've put that with the Sabre money line for my daily double?
We know it's an ancient, it's as old as time. The pick you don't do in the best bets always wins.
Well, that's because that means that the Utah money line and the Nets plus 17.
Banger.
That's your banger daily double for this evening here. Doug, great job as always. Have a great weekend. We will see you back on Monday, 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. Pacific, Betting Weekly Live, of course, Betting Weekly Studios, Bet Rivers Network. Enjoy all the action this weekend, and we will see you back here on Monday.